think I might see it. Come on. Yep. Oh, this guy's gonna bite. Yep. See it? See it? Yep. Oh, he sees it. Oh, it's gonna bite. Yep. 27, he's 7.5. 27 inches, 27 and a half, 29 and a half, a dirty 30. Should get around him. It's interested. Yep. Well, welcome back. As you can see, we are doing kind of a fun little pattern right here. We are going to be doing some suspended open water walleyes on one of my favorite baits. They just seem to smoke it. This is a pretty decent fish right here, and you do get that a lot doing this bite. You're going to get some little bit better quality fish. We're going to talk through all the details of this. I'll show you this right here. Not a monster, but we are having a blast. And so one of the first things you're looking for when you're looking for this pattern is bait. As you can see, I'm kind of out over this deeper flat. There's just bait kind of milling around all of this. And that's kind of your first giveaway, is when you're starting to see pods of bait, there's likely going to be fish somewhere in the area, and they're going to be up off bottom. These ones are probably anywhere from that 20 to 30 foot range. And we're just seeing them. There's another one. Seeing them kind of roam just like that. Let's see if we're gonna get around this guy. Ooh. Yep. Oh, every once in a while when you start speeding up like that, they just can't help but smoke it. Sometimes they'll lazy follow, but one of the first things you're looking for when you're targeting this pattern right here is you're just looking for kind of big mid to deep water flats that have a lot of bait cruising over the top. And these are a fun bite. That is for sure. Oh, that's a good one. That is what a lot of these do. They just chomp it. That one is 27 inches. All these fish up here are just so built in. So like I said, a lot of times you're looking, this flat is like 40 feet or so. And back there more, not as much right here. We were just seeing a lot of bait. So I kind of kept cruising. Sometimes these are tapering. This one specifically is relatively flat, a little bit deeper out behind me. But find this bait just cruising around. And then what you do is you just got to cover water. You know, you got to drive around. And once you find fish, there's a few specific ways to kind of help yourself be more efficient when targeting them. So we're going to go find another fish, talk through a little bit of that. There's a high guy. 10 feet down. Oh, he sees it. Oh, that was awesome. He was so close to the surface. When they get like that, sometimes those surface ones will really smoke it. But you got to try to time these out with your cast. If you can see where they're moving, what I like to do is I like to cast beyond them. Cast beyond them and try to get that thing just to drift right over top of their head. Let's see. Another quality fish. I'm just gonna spot lock us here. One thing that's so nice about these smelt nader heads with these big, strong hooks, you don't usually have to be worried about them popping off. Although when they're thrashing like that, come on. Oh, pop that off. Another just meaty one, probably that mid-20s. And you can see another one out there. But that thing was, you know, we're over 40 feet here. That thing was down 10 feet below the surface, and when it saw it, it came up and smoked it. So being able to get behind that fish, kind of slow roll it over top, every once in a while, I'll drop it right on its head, and that'll be an effective way to do it. But more often than not, I like to get it behind them, kind of roll it over top. And what I found, the straight retrieve or just letting the boat kind of pull you back, that has been much more effective for me than doing snaps or pops. Sometimes that will trigger a bite, but you see this one, it's at 40 feet. Gonna try cast just a touch beyond it. I might have got a little too close. Yeah, got a little bit on top of its head. But we'll see, that works out. Every once in a while you can just stop it right above like that. Oh, except for he's swimming with me, so it might actually work out okay. Now he sees it. Yep. Oh jeez, I was all over the board there. That was the grossest hook set I have ever seen. Oh, that is so fun. This is such a cool bite, and it's kind of interesting, you know, sometimes you'll see like this right away when we started, there's tons of bait. These ones are not around much bait, and when they aren't around bait, sometimes I find them to be a little more bitey. If they're really moving around and chasing that bait, those ones really like to eat because they're already in feeding mode. But if you can get these ones out, because there's not a lot of bait around, they're quality fish. Not a lot of bait around, so if you can get a good fish off by itself like that, those fish are gonna eat. Oh my gosh. I will never get sick of this. I absolutely love being up here. It's such a cool body of water and so many big fish. We got another 27.5. Man, these fish are so fun. You can do this around structure as well. Sometimes I'll just roam around some of this deep structure and you're gonna see fish up off bottom. So this is definitely, again, the ticket for it. Couple things that I will say, I like a 1/2 ounce head that seems to be about the right speed when you're working these. You know, if you get too much lighter, you just can't get it down and actually have that tail moving pretty good. Although with this material, it moves so easily. But that 1/2 ounce head seems to be the best. I like a 3/0 or a 4/0 hook, something pretty beefy with these to get a little bit out of that paddle tail. And then a couple things that I do is this is no new news, but I'll put a dab of glue, super glue on that head. So now that'll stay on there nice. And man, these things just stretch like crazy. So you can go catch a ton of fish on one bait and you're never gonna have issues. So such a cool presentation. I'm gonna stop talking, keep fishing, get some more cool eats. It's gonna see it. Oh my gosh. The other one does. Come on. Yep. Two-handed hook set right there. I was in an awkward position. Man, so you can see that piece of structure is just, I was just kind of cruising over top, seeing what I was seeing on top, and I got off the edge of this structure, and sure enough, there's a couple suspended marks hanging over the top. Oh man, it was kind of awkward. I did kind of the fade away, cast it over top, and I just let the boat drift us the rest of the way. Another good one. Oh, you just get so jaded up here. I don't even know if I mentioned where I'm at. Up on Rainy Lake with Brett and Nick. We're coming up shooting some content. We're gonna do a little competition video here tomorrow. And we're staying up with Matt and Alyssa up at Sunset Country Outfitters. I'll put their info down below. Just an awesome place to stay. But another quality Rainy Lake. Whoa, walleye. So as I'm driving here, I'm gonna talk through a few of the other areas that I'm looking for when I'm targeting these suspended walleyes. Honestly, it can be in a lot of different areas, but one is on or around structure. I'm not sure if I posted that video yet, but when I was kind of talking about the sweet spots on this mid-lake structure, I went and I actually caught some off of the structure as well in that video. So anywhere in and around structure, these big flats, like I said, they can be any 20 foot, they can be down to 50 feet. You know, obviously if you're doing like the deeper ones, you're looking for suspended fish. You're not fishing those fish all the way down to bottom because that's not gonna be very good for the health of those fish. Another one is over top of some of the deeper structure. So if you're seeing, you know, the first one I was talking about was structure that you're typically fishing like that 20, 30 foot range. Sometimes I'll see them over like 50 feet. There's structure that's 50 feet deep, but they are still up 10 feet down. They relate to that structure even though it's all the way down, and kind of similar to some of those hard bottom, soft bottom transitions. You'll see fish suspended over top of those, even if it's, you know, 40 feet above that transition, they still will relate to that. I'm not 100% sure why, if that's maybe some of those bugs coming up off of the mud where it gets to the sand, not sure. But those are a few areas that I really like to try. Well, now we've shown you some of these kind of mid-range to deeper flats. Now we're gonna go on some structure and kind of show you what we're looking for once we're actually on the structure. Little Uncrustable time, AKA best boat snack ever. Thanks again, Warren Fisher. This guy might happen here. Let's see what we got. Come on, see it, see it, see it. See it? Yep. Oh, that's so fun. You could tell, like, the way these fish were sitting, that, man, if you could get a bait in front of these guys, I think they're gonna eat. This is a decent fish. Oh, it's a big walleye. It's a big walleye. That's what we're looking for. Come on. Come on. Yes. Oh, this is so cool. That's a big fish. That is what we are out here looking for, is fish like this. Oh, sweet. I'm gonna go put it quick on the bump board. 29.5. These Rainy Lake walleyes are so fun. Suspended. I knew if you could just get a bait around them that they would eat. What we got going on over here, like I said, we're gonna go to that structure. And I was going to that structure, and before we got there, I was seeing these marks out here, and there's all this bait. We're over like 50 feet of water. They're down probably 15 to 25-ish. That one was up even a little higher, and man, there's more around, so I think we're gonna keep cruising this stuff. Oh yeah. These might be pike. Yep. My guess is this is a big pike. Show them off real quick. Oh, fun fish. They grow thick in here just like everything else. That's what I love. Even after a pike like that, being able to, this eye candy plastic is just pretty much untouched. My line, however, not so much. Open water guy. I think we're gonna get pretty close to him. Oh, 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 oh. Come on. Start reeling away. Yep. Ooh, I'm a little bit loose there. That guy wanted to reel away. It's so fun when they do that. It's like a lake trout, you know? All of a sudden you start popping it away from them. The faster you reel, the faster they chase. Not a giant, but solid fish. Whew. We'll get over to structure eventually here. Jeez. My rod's getting hooked on my sweatshirt here. Come on now. There we go. It's funny, like I said, you just get so jaded up here because normally this would be an awesome fish and you're just like, another 23, 24 incher, fun fish, nice and thick. All of them have just those shoulders on them. That's one thing I will say is, you know, if you're going from one piece of structure to the next, if you're a typical structure fisherman trying to learn, get a little more experience with this, just use your trolling motor, just drive with your live scope down when you're going to the next spot. It's gonna take a little bit longer, but you're gonna see fish. That's what I'm doing right here. I was just going over to the next area, and I figured, I was like, I'm just gonna drive over there because it's a big 50 to, I don't know, 60 foot flat or so. It's like, might see some suspended fish, and sure enough, not too far, and there's a suspended fish. So typically when I'm doing this, I'm using something very natural. You know, one of my favorites is white. We're on rainy, so there's a lot of smelt. So this one's actually a smelt colored. I try to do a lot of natural colors. Every once in a while, like for example, when you have a ton of bait down there, if I have an area where I have a bunch of bait, then sometimes I will go to more of a bright color, more of something that's contrasty, even a black, because they're seeing all that bait and you want to stick out. So whether it's by the action that you're working that bait, doing a little more snappy, or sometimes the profile itself will be enough. So I will use some of those a little more brightly colored baits or something a little more contrasty as well, if I'm getting into an area where there's a bunch of bait and I'm seeing that these fish aren't really interested. We got one coming through right over here. Should get around them. This guy might see it. Come on. Yep, gotta be a pike. If this is a walleye, this was awesome. Oh, it is a big walleye. Oh, where's my net? Where is my net? Where is my net? Well, I'm gonna have to try hand land this guy. Wow, I have literally no idea where my net is, but there is that guy. I don't know if it fell out. If it did, this might get a little interesting. So yeah, you can see that even over this structure, this is in 42 feet of water. That guy was probably 20 feet down. And so even around this structure, the deep structure, they'll still relate to it. They'll still be around. Just another way to kind of pattern some of these suspended walleyes. One of the things I will say that I just picked up this rod. This is the 7.2 medium heading fast by Elliott. It's in the performance handle. This rod was specifically made for throwing these big swim baits like this, and I absolutely love it. You can, if I am doing those rips, it has enough backbone to really give it those rips and give it that good action. If you have it's too light, then it's not gonna give it that action because these baits are typically pretty heavy that you're throwing, these big swim baits. I do see another one here. Try cast out at that guy. And so this 7.2 medium heavy, I'm typically throwing it, I'll throw it a lot on a 2000 size reel. This one is the Carbon X2 2000, but I will throw it on a 3000 size. That's what I want to start doing a little more of, honestly, just because I really like being able to spool out line very quickly. If I make a bad cast and I want to get it back in, this guy's coming up a little bit. Come on, see if he'll keep chasing. There, you bet. See that guy, he just needed shoot. That guy just needed it sped up a little bit. You can see he was following, and then I start speeding up. Sometimes that will make these fish not bite. You can see another one down there, but that one's a little bit deep. That one's probably in like 33 feet of water, so I'm not going to target that guy. Takes a lot of self-control, especially because that looks like a good mark. But you just got to be, cognizant about what you're doing, where you're at, check your depth. But 2000 size reel, 3000 size I like as well to spool up more line. I'm throwing this on like a 15-pound braid. I like a little bit heavier braid because, as you can see, these are some of the bigger fish, and so you're throwing big baits. You don't have to be super finessey. You don't have to worry about castability because they're heavy and they move around. They can cast very easily. And then I've started doing a lot more of the FG knot, which I really like for going through the guides, and I'll do an FG knot to like a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader because pike will bite this as well, and you want to be prepared to have these big fish, fight them. And when you're using big baits like this, usually it's almost like a little bit of a reaction at times. So having a super fine finesse fluorocarbon isn't always crucial. Ooh, this guy's gonna bite. Yep. Oh, that's so cool. This is gonna get interesting. Nice fat 25-incher. Yep. This makes me very happy that I don't have a net. Oh, here I thought it was not that great, but it's still 27 and a half. Oh, it's gonna bite. Yep. Just gonna have to try hand land this guy. Oh my gosh, that was not easy. Another 27. Well, of course, turn the camera off for 1 second and stick a dirty 30 right on the nose at 30 inches. Had to hand land this thing because I didn't have my net, but wanted to at least show it off. That was again on that big swim bait. I highly recommend giving this stuff a shot. It is a lot of fun. It does take some time to learn, and not every fish. It's easy to get discouraged. If you're looking for a good place to try it, honestly, stay up with Matt and Alyssa up here on Rainy Lake. Awesome area and a lot of big fish. So thanks so much for watching. We got some fun stuff in the works from this trip. We'll see you next time.